She's a fighter for the American people, committed to our values, our hopes, our dreams, bringing joy back across our nation.
It's about damn time. Turn up the music. Turn down the lights.
Where did this strength and passion come from in this daughter of middle-class Oakland? Well, it started with her parents. Her mother, a South Asian scientist, and her father, a black economist. They took her to civil rights marches and inspired her to pursue her dreams. After her parents divorced, she and her sister were raised by her mother with the help of friends and neighbors, attending Sunday school at the 23rd Avenue Church.
We grew up in this wonderful, loving, supportive environment.
My mother was very well aware that she was raising two black girls to be two black women.
Her mother saved up for 10 years to buy their first home and shared with Kamala the words and wisdom that remain her North Star to this day.
Be a fighter for things that matter, and don't be limited by what has always been.
And then came a moment that changed Kamala Harris's destiny, the spark that lit the fire within.
When I was in high school, I had a best friend who I learned was being molested by her father.
This particular day, she was like, hey, you really, really are not yourself. There's something going on.
I said to her as soon as she told me, well, you have to come stay with us.
As you get older, you really, really reflect on how pivotal that intervention was at that crucial point of my life.
A big part of the reason I wanted to be a prosecutor was to protect people like her.
And on her first day in court, she rose from her chair at the prosecutor's desk and said, Kamala Harris for the people. As a prosecutor, she put violent criminals and sexual predators in prison, leading to the highest conviction rate for serious and violent crime in 15 years, and created Back on Track, a program for first-time low-level drug offenders that became a national model.
For that, yeah, you did commit a crime, accept it, own up to it, and then let's talk about what we can do to change the circumstances going forward.
Lowering recidivism rates for nonviolent offenders from 54% to 10%, giving people the training they needed to find a job after their sentence.
I remember being so struck by having a district attorney who cared both about justice, about safety and accountability, but figuring out how to stop that crime from happening again.
As California's Attorney General, she targeted transnational gangs and drug cartels, seized 10,000 kilos of cocaine and 12,000 pounds of methamphetamine, went after drug traffickers, and took 12,000 illegal guns off the streets.
The new foreclosure crisis threatens to freeze up.
She took on the nation's 5 largest mortgage banks that were stealing from homeowners.
Prosecutors claim they've duped desperate homeowners into paying thousands of dollars to get them out of foreclosure.
She played hardball and delivered a landmark $20 billion settlement.
This represents one of the largest dollar amounts to come to California.
And in 2016, the people of California sent her to represent them in Washington, D.C. In the Senate, she earned a reputation for taking on the tough fights on the Judiciary and Intelligence Committees.
Kamala hit the ground running. She came in with confidence. She was always respectful, but she would not let a witness off easily.
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
And if an argument didn't hold water, she could spot that flaw and get at it.
I do want you to be honest.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
And when Joe Biden went looking for his vice president,
I wanted someone who was strong and who was ready to be president on day one.
as vice president, she worked to cap insulin costs for seniors at $35, to replace lead pipes and provide clean water for communities, and she helped create 16 million jobs.
The Biden-Harris bipartisan infrastructure bill has already created thousands of jobs for our members. That is what the future looks like under a President Kamala Harris.
She fought to reduce the trauma of gun violence that has devastated our nation.
How many of you guys, as college students, had to have a drill during high school or middle school or elementary school where you learned about how you need to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner in the event that there is a mass shooter roaming the hallways of your school? Look at that. Look at that.
And she did more than talk the talk. She walked the walk, helping pass the first bipartisan legislation in 30 years to curb gun violence.
So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business.
She has traveled the world to strengthen our national security and restore our global leadership, meeting with more than 150 heads of state. She stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies and stood up to dictators, helping to unite NATO behind Ukraine and impose punishing costs on Russia. She's led the fight for reproductive freedom.
We have worked too hard and fought too long to see our daughters grow up in a world with fewer rights than our mothers.
The first vice president to visit an abortion clinic, she built a nationwide grassroots movement to ensure that access to abortion, IVF, and birth control will always be protected. In the halls of power, she's a tough prosecutor, an effective policymaker, a powerful leader. And at home, she's the center of her family.
I'm not giving up.
She's the best godmother, auntie. She's honest, she's loving, incredibly reliable. She's one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet.
That is why I believe she is so prepared to be our next president. This love she has for her family, being there for all of us, that's how she will lead this country, being there for everyone.
She's a proud graduate of Harvard University.
You know!
Her campaign is a force of nature, generating the excitement we've all been yearning for.
A campaign of joy, of love, of care.
I am so fundamentally inspired. Kamala Harris will be our next president because you know there's too much on the line to stay on the sidelines.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for bringing back the joy.
Sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down. We are not going back.
She's a protector, a strong voice for common sense, a leader for tomorrow, committed to healing our country, dedicated to doing the hard work to make us stronger.
I now declare you spouses for life.
Someone who truly understands the struggles of everyday Americans, forged by the challenges of the past, ready for any challenge that may arise. Now is the time, America. The joy is back, the pride is back, the hope is back. She's doing the work. She's fighting for us. She's the new way forward, our way forward. She is the next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.